Welcome back to Mock the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft and I mock it, giving you my views, thoughts, and opinions. Got a fun one for you today. We're going to be taking a look at Ryan Wilson from CBS. They always have very entertaining mock drafts. But if you're wondering why I've been doing a lot of these mock the mock videos recently, I'm just trying to buy time as I whip together my new prospect rankings for the 2024 NFL draft. Those should be starting to come out at the very least, maybe starting next Monday. So be on the look for that. Also, I'm trying to whip together a free agency video. So, Broshmo been a busy boy, but let's get into this sucker. Oh, he's got Washington picking first? Okay. So we got a trade at number 1. Here are the trade details. Washington sends number 2, number 41, and a 2025 first rounder to Chicago for the first overall pick. I know some people don't get the concept of moving up one spot in a draft, but it's to cement that you get who you want, that the team in front of you isn't going to trade to another team that's going to move up and take your guy. I feel like it's an easy concept. But Washington, to ensure that they can get the quarterback that they want, they make the move up, losing a second rounder this year. That's kind of big for Chicago. But I assume Chicago makes this move because they're going to be keeping Justin Fields in this mock. So I guess we'll find out at 2. But Washington gets Caleb Williams. He's actually from the D.C. area. A quarterback with a ton of tools. We know it's going to be a new regime there in Washington, so they get their guy. The Washington Bears, I said the Washington Bears. The Chicago Bears, they take Marvin Harrison Jr., so they are going to be sticking with Justin Fields. Actually, that's the first line. If the Bears are sticking with Justin Fields, they'll trade down stockpile picks and hopefully remain in the range for Marvin Harrison Jr. And moving down to 2 kind of ensures you are in that range. Yeah, I'm cool with it. If you're going to stick with, I feel like a lot of people are 50-50 when it comes to keep Fields, draft talent around him, or trade Fields, draft a quarterback. I honestly, I don't think either's the wrong answer. I might have a preference, but I'm kind of okay with both those answers. But they get Marvin Harrison. Can't wait to see what they do at 9. I assume that moves defense. Defense is kind of a popular pick for the Bears at 9. But let's keep the sucker rolling. At 3, Drake May goes to the New England Patriots. Yeah, they need a quarterback. Mac Jones, ain't it? Zap. Bailey Zap. He ain't it. So they get Drake May. People sleep on Drake May, man. Guy with a lot of tools. And he's put up 2 quality years there for the Tar Heels. At pick 4, so we do we do a trade at 1. I assume we're gonna see no more trades, but if you're the Cardinals, I feel like you kind of want to trade out of this spot. They go Olu Fashanu. DJ Humphries did have a late season ACL tear, so he probably won't be good to go to start the season. If anything, he's getting pretty pricey, so they may look to move on from him some way, at least in some fashion. So if they miss out on Marvin Harrison, they don't necessarily have to trade out of the top 4 or of pick 4. They could go ahead and just take like the top offensive lineman. I think that would still make sense. But ideally, you kind of want to get a playmaker, a receiver. I think Malik Neighbors is still would be in the run-in for this pick. Pick 5, we got Joe Alt going to the Chargers. I don't mind this. I feel like Alt you get a very good right tackle, and now at that point you're looking at the weakest spot on your offensive line being center, with Corey Lindsey fortunately having to retire because of a heart condition. So I think that's plausible. You got to protect Herbert. I like the idea of going Malik Neighbors, just grabbing more firepower. That just seems really fun. But I mean, you're still getting a really good prospect here, so it's a-okay. Giants go with Jaden Daniels. Yes, I think the Giants should go with a new quarterback. They really should. Daniel Jones, I don't think is the answer, and they can move on from him after this next season. I mean, we've seen Tommy Cutlets be more productive. We've seen Tyrod Taylor be more productive this season than Daniel Jones was. So I think, yeah, grab Jaden Daniels, good value there here at 6. Former Heisman, I say former Heisman winner. He just won the Heisman this past season. And he's got a big arm. You like what he can do downfield. And incredible athlete. I think it's worth the swing. I really do. Pick 7, JC Latham. So with the top 2 tackles on the board, we kind of force tackle here at 7. Though it's a solid tackle class, I think Latham's can be worth the top 10 pick. He's probably going to be in my top 15 when I finish up my big board. Regardless, I mean, the offensive line is absolute booty cheeks, and they could definitely use a tackle. Whether I imagine you're plugging them at right tackle in this scenario, and you could have a battle at left tackle between guys like Dillard, who wasn't very good this season, Peter Skoronski, and Nicholas Petit-Frere. Because I feel like even if Dillard wins that, then there are your guards right there in Skoronski and Nicholas Petit-Frere. So there we go. We're thinking it out. I like it. We got the Atlanta Falcons going with Michael Penix. Let's read this one. Is this too high for Penix? Maybe, but given the way he spun it and ran it, there we go, against Texas in the semifinals, not to mention the way he's played the last 2 years at Washington, it's hard to make a case that he won't be in the mix as a first-round pick. I think he can be in the mix, but it would probably be later in the first round. There are some teams that think he's more day 2 prospect, which I think is fine as well. But let me put it this way. Is this Falcons team better with Penix than the QBs on the roster during the 2023 season? I do agree with that. But for me, I would rather go, again, this is kind of getting into my own quarterback rankings. I would go with probably Bo Nix over this. I mean, really, we're kind of splitting hairs here. If you prefer Penix, that's fine. It's just Penix does have the injury history, older prospect, and it's like a couple of things that you kind of worry about when it comes to his game. When he does have to get mobile, like I think he's mobile enough in the pocket, but I don't think he really creates himself. He can extend the play, but I don't think that ability is better than a Bo Nix or the prospects that are ahead of him. I think on the throw-to-throw basis, sometimes his accuracy does slip, specifically on the move. And also a guy that didn't really have to go over the middle of the field, and I do have some concerns in there. I mean, you go back to the national championship game, where, granted, was being pressured, but immediately goes to his check down option when he did have Odunze over the middle for a first down. If would have just looked in the middle of the field, but kind of is what it is. It's going to be a very interesting process. See, how do we see? Because for the most part, I think everyone kind of sees QB 1, 2, and 3 the same, but that quarterback 4. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be like a JJ McCarthy? Is it going to be Bo Nix? Is it going to be Michael Penix? Is there another name out there, perhaps, that sneaks into it? I don't think there is, but there could be. I don't know. Maybe someone's high on Spencer Rattler, who's got a good arm. But does feel a little high for me here for the Falcons. But I get why you do it. The guy does have an incredibly strong arm, and he has made some very, very, very nice looking throws. But also, it's not like he just had a bad national championship game. I feel like that's just kind of a false premise out there. Go to his Arizona State game. Go to his Arizona game. He has had bad games this year. Guys, let's reel back and look at this accurately. But before we get to pick 9, what's crack-a-lackin'? It is your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below where we had that nice, beautiful football discourse. That's right. Also, we got to shout out Underdog Fantasy, sponsor today's video. If you like weekly best ball or player prop bets, higher or lower, it's one of my favorites there on Underdog Fantasy. Then check out Underdog Fantasy. They don't just do football, they do all kinds of sports, and they have some specials right now for the NFL playoffs. When you sign up using promo code Broshmo, they match that first deposit up to $100 in dues. But as always, please bet responsibly and bet within your means. Pick 9, the Bears take Dallas Turner. I know I have a preference when it comes to Jared Verse for the Bears. Matt Eberflus, think it's a good pick, but Dallas Turner has been incredibly good. He is young. They got him listed up to 252, which I think could be huge. I don't know if he is that way. I feel like he's not, but we shall see. The guy is extremely explosive, and well, like if you think he's edge 1, I'm not gonna fight it. I think edge 1 is very close in this class. At pick 10. Got the Jets. They go with Malik Neighbors. So Neighbors falls a little bit here. I think he's going to go higher than this. But yeah, I guess technically in this case, 3 offensive tackles already off the board. Might as well go with wide receiver 2, who probably should have went earlier here. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would love to be thrown to a Garrett Wilson and Malik Neighbors. Holla, holla. And shoot, man. I know you might be worried about the offensive line, but what takes the pressure off a bad offensive line is players that can get open quick and scheme. You could scheme, but please, Jets, try to do something to make that offensive line a wee bit better. Minnesota Vikings take Jared Verse. So the Vikings could be in the market for QB2, but if they re-sign Kirk Cousins, they could focus their attention on defense. Okay, so I assume we're just going to assume, you know what they say about assuming, but we're going to assume Kirk Cousins returns with the Vikings. They go Jared Verse. Pass rush, it's kind of a big need. You got guys like Daniil Hunter, you got Marcus Davenport, DJ Wonnum, all free agents. This was a team that felt the need that they had to blitz a ton, and I mean a ton, like a historic rate, because they felt they couldn't get pressure by themselves. So yes, getting pass rush talent, I think, is kind of a top priority for the Vikings. Of course, quarterback is the most top, but if they feel like they got the quarterback position already figured out, then yeah, pass rush is probably next. Denver Broncos go with Rome Odunze. With 4 quarterbacks already off the board, Denver would have to trade up to land Russell Wilson's successor. Otherwise, it could target wide receiver Rome Odunze, who reminds me of A.J. Brown. I feel like A.J. Brown's after the catch ability was a little bit better. Actually, quite a bit better coming out of college. But he's been special for the Huskies. I ain't going to doubt that. He has been really good this year for the Huskies. I think he's worthy of a top 10 selection. The dude is that good. He became incredibly better as a contested catch player this year as well. And I mean, Jared Judy's probably, a lot of people are anticipating him not to be with the team next year, but I guess until he's moved, he is still going to be a Bronco. But you could always add to that Courtland Sutton, which Courtland Sutton's also been an often hurt player. So you want a little bit more reliability in that wide receiver core. So yeah, I think that's fine. We got Nate Wiggins going to the Raiders. The Raiders, low-key, have been actually pretty good defense later here in the season as Jack Jones has become a good focal point. What a sign in there. And then you got Nate Hobbs, who could flip inside and out. Nate Wiggins, you just got a phenomenal athlete. And again, with corner being such a volatile position, you want to just continue to add depth, talent, and competition to the position. So I think that's A-okay. I have a feeling we're not going to see J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix in this mock. As Brock Bowers goes to 14, I'm going to be real with y'all. This is kind of like, wow, Brock Bowers is an exceptional value here. Let's go ahead and just take it. Like, I think Brock Bowers can be a special tight end. He is that good. So, yeah, I'm kind of cool with the Saints just kind of taking the top best player on the board. I'm not going to contest that too much. Okay, we got Brian Thomas. Ooh, this is an interesting one. To the Indianapolis Colts. Oh, I do think they need to get another wide receiver that can play on the outside there. As I think Alec Pierce is a fine depth guy, but I don't think he's like a high-end wide receiver too. So, and I mean, to be fair, hey, Michael Pittman is a free agent unless they, slap the franchise tag on him. Can confirm is a free agent. They would have to slap the franchise tag on him, which I think they likely will. But adding more firepower for Anthony Richardson as he returns. I like that. I like that quite a bit. If you're going to go in a different direction than corner or pass rush along the defensive line. Seattle Seahawks go Jerzon Newton. I guess they have a lot of free agents there on the defensive interior, which is a shame. The defensive interior has played hella good this year. So they could definitely go with a Jerzon Newton. They could honestly look for a meatier option, but a bigger option, but like a physically bigger option. But Jerzon Newton, one hell of a player. Has he has among the most pressures among the defensive interior, along with one of the best pass rush win rates as well. Very good run stuffer as well. So, like Seahawks, there's a plethora of ways they can go at this pick. Talanisa Fuaga going here to the Jags. The offensive line definitely needs a little fine tuning, so I'm all for that, whether you see Fuaga as a tackle or a guard. They list some tackle here, so I imagine Anton Harrison kicks to the left side. Fuaga remains on that right side, or right tackle. But you could also sneak him into guard if you need him, if you feel like that's a better fit for him. But big fan of Fuaga. Do think Jags probably address the offensive line relatively early in this draft. Marius Mims going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Kind of a no-brainer. Jonah Williams, free agent, but honestly not that great. So you get a big potential upgrade here. The dude has the tools of a top 10 prospect, just unfortunately was a little banged up this season. Kool-Aid McKinstry going here at pick 19 to the Greenba Packers. And yeah, everyone and their mom's going corner because it just makes sense. They've been beat up at corner, whether it's Eric Stokes can't get healthy, Jair Alexander had a shoulder problem this season. And, I mean, to be fair, his play wasn't up to his normal standard. But to be fair, his normal standard is like top 5 in the league. And then Karen and Valentine, dude's a day 3 rookie. So, like, again, what you've seen from him is promising, but I think you still want to add depth, talent, and competition to the position. Big fan of Kool-Aid. Tampa Bay, they go with Keon Coleman. I get it. Mike Evans, free agent. So you probably want to get a big body threat if you're not going to bring back Mike Evans, who had another very phenomenal season. So Keon Coleman kind of would be that guy. There's not a lot of guys that are going to like meet that size threshold and match it with that level of physicality. Like there's a few guys in this class. I just don't think they're up to Keon Coleman's level. I know some people talk about like A.D. Mitchell and like Troy Franklin, but they're not 215. I don't think either of those guys actually eclipse 200 pounds. So like Coleman gives you that big meaty size. So solid pick, man. That next tier of wide receiver, like after the top 3 in this class, I feel like everyone's gonna have such a wild order, man. I mean, it's a really good wide receiver class, so to each their own. Matter of fact, here is A.D. Mitchell going to the Cardinals. So they go all offense. So it's like, hey, we want to help Kyler Murray the best that we can. So I'm okay with that. If they want to address defense then the rest of the way, maybe you can make some cost-effective moves in free agency to acquire more talent on the defensive end. But that defense really does need taken care of because it wasn't good this year. It just wasn't. There were some encouraging parts, but all in all, it's still lacking talent and depth. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only 30 bucks by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet. So send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Got Cooper DeJean going here to the Rams. Actually, this is a really good pick. Really good pick, really good fit. Gives them some size at the corner position because golly, that's one thing. Either they have a size at corner or they have speed at corner, but they don't have a player that has both. You know, you got Trey Tomlinson, who's lacks size, and then you got Darion Kendrick, who lacks speed but has size. Now they get someone who I guess has the total package. There we go. All right, we got Kamari Lassiter going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You want to find that running mate for Joey Porter Jr. So it does make sense. I don't think they currently have their future cornerback 2 on the roster. You got Patrick Peterson, but again, he's a guy that his best days are kind of behind him. They have Levi Wallace, who's I think fine depth, but you could definitely look for that future player. And Lassiter, I think, is going to be a very good get at the back end of the first round. Miami Dolphins go with Troy Fautanu. I like this pick a lot, actually. Whether he wants to play, whether you see him as a guard and he plays left guard, which you have an opening, or if he's the heir apparent for Terran Armstead, you could decide that in camp. Regardless, he's going to be a starter almost immediately. Big fan of that. Got Graham Barton going to the Eagles. Barton played left tackle in his final 3 years at Duke, and he was the anchor of the unit, but his future will be inside, either at guard and center. And I feel like they kind of already got it figured out on the inside, or at least they hope they got it figured out on the inside with some other players in prior selections. I think you would be looking for that tackle replacement, heir apparent to Lane Johnson. But I don't think Barton is the pick for the Eagles. I think there's probably better ways you can go, whether it's with coverage or if you want to go in on one of these guys will play tackle at the next level. Speaking of which, Tyler Guyton probably would have been the guy. It feels like definitely feels like a developmental prospect, a guy that probably you don't want playing early on in his first season, but someone who has very intriguing tools and he's a phenomenal athlete. But instead he goes here for the Kansas City Chiefs, which Donovan Smith, free agent. Yeah, I get that. And then right tackle Juwan Taylor hasn't lived up to his contract. Yeah, but I think he's been fine enough. Monty Morris has been capable in spot duty, but the NFL teams are intrigued by guiding size and athleticism. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this pick it's got to be wide receiver. Troy Franklin on the board. Take a swing at that. Oh, shoot. Liatu Latu? I forgot he was still on the board here. So I'm assuming he falls because of the medical injuries. Yeah, again, his combine, I guess, medicals are going to be important. Probably that's the most important thing for this draft process, because I think he's already showed enough the last 2 years where I think you would say he's worthy of a top 15 to top 10 pick. At this point, I feel like the Texans are just getting immense value. And honestly, that's how you treat the draft. You don't treat it like a secondary free agency. You don't. That's a losing strategy. If you're going in looking to fill more needs, it's a losing strategy. That's a way to keep your team mediocre by reaching on need rather than taking the talent off the board. Freaking the draft is about taking the best players on the board at positions of value to increase the overall ceiling of talent on your team. That's the draft. Dude, a lot of these guys, mainly on like day 2 and such, don't even start their first year. Like, yeah, you'll get a few here and there, but a lot of times like they're looking to like develop these guys, or they're playing maybe rotation roles early before they become starters. Like, it's a slow burn for some of these guys. The draft isn't free agency. It's not. I always look, well, this team doesn't need this position. Yeah, but it's the best player on the board, and it'll allow you in the future maybe to move on from more expensive players at that position. Miss me with that. Braylon Trice going to the Detroit Lions. Sure, I like it. Get a more consistent pass rush threat opposite of Aiden Hutchinson on all 3 downs. They got Comiskey. They're a big fan of him. He's more of a run stuffer. James Houston is more of a DPR designated pass rush only. So they want to look for more zest on the edge. Braylon Trice is a good pickup. Freaking, I love Byron Murphy is starting to get just so much love. So much love. I'm a big fan of Byron Murphy. He goes here to the Bills to add a little bit more edge, I guess, to that defensive line. I believe Daquan Jones, who honestly has been hurt the last 2 years. Granted, his first season with the Bills, it wasn't until the end of the season, but this year he was banged up, which is a shame. He's been when healthy, he's a very productive player, but you could look for probably more depth there on the interior, and Murphy's a great start. Like, I think he has the most pressures, the best pass rush win rate in this defensive interior class. I think he's going to go to the Senior Bowl, and he is going to just blow it up. Big fan of Murphy. Dallas Cowboys go with Quinion Mitchell. I get it. Stephon Gilmore. Probably not a long-term answer. He's still got another year on his deal, though, but he is an older player. But they have Trayvon Diggs. They have Deron Bland, who granted probably can play inside and out, and maybe even the same with Quinion Mitchell. So I get that adding more depth and more competition, more talent to the position. But you gotta think there might be better value. I don't know, man. Is there? Like, Mitchell's probably one of the top prospects left on the board here. I don't know. That's an interesting one for Dallas. Chop Robinson going to the Niners. They love having a deep edge group. It talks about very few holes on this roster, but Chase Young, Cleveland Farrell, and Randy Gregory are all free agents. I'm kind of curious if they'll make an effort to re-sign Chase Young. But Chop Robinson, he's a guy worth developing, and they do have Drake Jackson out there on the edge too. I would imagine maybe they'd want to go with a offensive line player in general, or even corner. Then again, corner just got snagged the pick prior. Oh no, it's a fascinating pick nonetheless. Then our final pick, it's Jordan Morgan. Oh, Jordan Morgan probably should have went a little bit earlier to some of those teams I mentioned. Probably could have went tackle. But I'm a big fan of Morgan. Obviously, Ronnie Stanley can't really stay healthy anymore. Feels like you should probably be looking for another option there. You got Morgan Moses, who's still playing well, but again, getting up there in years, has missed some games here and there. So you probably do want to look for a tackle eventually, and this is actually a really good class to do that in. I'm a big fan of Morgan. And you don't even necessarily have to play him early at tackle. You could kick him into left guard because that position's kind of wide open for him too. They've had John Simpson playing there this year, so they could probably look for other options. So I'm actually a big fan of this pick. It's different, but I think it's the right kind of different. But that's it for the draft. That's it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let me know what you think. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.